Hello. Today I want to talk about the topics, the themes of our drawings. I, a while back, received a question from a student who has trouble finding themes. I'm going to read the question real quick. So I'm hoping you could help me out. I have taken several of your classes, but I find it really hard to identify a theme for drawings. I tend to be very past, present oriented and have a hard time even thinking about future or envisioning things I would want to work on or change. Okay, and the question is if I have any suggestions to help with themes. So, we can have themes that are dealing with the past or the present as well as the future. So when you're past or present oriented, there can be themes in that. That would be my first comment, I think. And then, of course, working with themes, I love to start from where I'm at now. This is how I develop themes. No, this is how I ask myself, what is alive for me right now? This is why sometimes I actually go into a guided meditation before we draw so that we can bring up what is present right now. A theme can really even start with a body sensation. No, when I just sit and I just ground and I just ask myself, what is here right now? What is present inside of me right now? And then, I have, this weird feeling in my hip or something in my belly. And then I ask myself, what might that be about? And even if I don't know, I can literally take that as a topic. I can literally make a drawing about this weird feeling in my tummy. So that is absolutely a way. And then the other thing would, of course, be reflecting on the present and even the past. Those can be topics. There can be so many topics in that. This is why, for example, I like to do drawings at the end of the day. And they are a reflection of my day. And I don't even have to make a specific topic. I can just say, this is going to be about my day. And I'm going to just let it evolve and let it kind of express itself. And then I can find the little diamonds from my experience, no matter if it was good or bad. No matter like kind of what happened in the day, I can just make a drawing about my day. And then I pick out the pieces where I feel like, oh, okay, this is something that I learned. And then from there, I can develop further. Then I can ask myself, what would I like to change? If I, for example, had a shitty day, which happens sometimes, how do I want to change that? What comes up? What is, quote unquote, the problem? And how do I see it right now? Also, you can look at how does your view of things change if you look into the past. If you look at your past, for example, past things that happened, past experiences, past conversations. I am someone who sometimes ruminates on the past and kind of finds all the ways that things could have turned out better. I hope that not everybody's like that because that doesn't really help. But those can also be topics. Those can bring up topics. And then, of course, we just have the some drawing processes that we can start without a topic, where we can just start drawing from wherever we're at right now, just connected to our body, connected to our emotions, connected to our thoughts. And then we just draw and we see what comes up in the process. And one of the reasons why I really, really recommend to my students to keep writing, even whenever your certification is over and you don't have to write anymore, is because whenever we reflect on what happens during the drawing. So not just at the beginning, how I feel and what I think, and then at the end, my reflection, but really during the process, in the process of drawing, what happens? When do I feel this weird, feeling in my belly? When does it stop? Does it change somehow? Is there a moment where the drawing has an internal effect? Because all of these things then can help me reflect and can help me find the topics that are kind of hidden in there. So I find that, of course, in one drawing, there can be 10 topics hidden. There can be a lot of underlying layers. And this is something that we can do with Neurographica. We can peel off the layers little by little. We can find all the things that we want to work on. And of course, you can also draw a drawing about that, about like, why do I find it hard to find topics? Why do I find it hard to look into the future? What's the deal with that? Would you like to look into the future? I find that exciting to look into the future. And I know that the course that she specifically mentioned was Algorithm 2, which is a course where we create our future. But we can also start from a point of, where am I now? And then ask, okay, what would be nice? What would be better? And really, in a way, it's also the allowing yourself to dream, allowing yourself to create something bigger for yourself. Or maybe it doesn't have to be bigger, but something, I'm going to say better, quote unquote, for yourself. Something that you want, And if somebody tells me that they don't want anything, then this is a topic. This is really a topic, because, like, do you really not want anything for yourself, for your life? Or you just, it's beautiful, Maybe there are some people that are just absolutely happy and everything is great. But then I feel like maybe you're not living in this world. We can, of course, also work on the topics around us, on what is present. And I feel like nowadays there's a lot present. There's so many things that are in the collective field. So we can also tap into that and see, what is my role in that, for example? Where do I want to go in that? These are topics that I'm working on right now. Kind of feeling into, in this larger, like, not just my personal life, but who am I in the collective? Those can all be topics, and they don't have to be super specific. What I like to do is, whenever I'm not 100% sure of what the topic is that I'm working with, I just start with a drawing, and then in the process of this drawing, I'm going to find more clarity about the topic. This is why we have this thing that we call cases, where we start with one drawing, and then out of it comes the topic for the next drawing, and out of it comes the topic for the next drawing. And what this can do is refining the topic. So, I always, at the end of the drawing, want to reflect back to the beginning. I always want to create a connection to the beginning and ask myself, okay, how did this drawing process now, in all its process, in like the meaning that I see in the end, if I see a meaning, or even, if I don't see a meaning, how does that change the topic that I started with? Can I refine it? Can I make it more specific? Is there maybe another perspective, another aspect of it? Is there another layer under it that I can continue working on? So I hope that this is helpful. And I would, of course, love to hear from everyone. What are the topics that you are working on right now? How do you find themes for your drawings? And, of course, ask more questions if you have them. And I would love to hear them.